All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Steve Malzberg Show. Donald Trump joins us in just about a minute. And we got a lot to talk about with Mr. Trump, certainly. New polls out today, NBC News, Wall Street Journal poll. Donald at 30% in New Hampshire. Rubio at 17. Cruz at 15. Kasich at 10. Bush at 9. CNN poll out yesterday, New Hampshire. Donald 29-18 over Rubio, a little smaller lead. You had Cruz at 13, Kasich 12, and Bush 10. You also have a Quinnipiac poll out nationally, national poll numbers. Trump 31, Cruz 22, Rubio 19. So Rubio has significantly increased his support in New Hampshire and nationally in the wake of his strong third-place finish in Iowa. Also, interesting, on the Democratic side, national poll, that same Quinnipiac poll, shows Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders in a statistical dead heat nationally. That is unbelievable. 44 Hillary, 42 Sanders. And in New Hampshire, Sanders 61 to 30% for Hillary. So you could see where we are going. So we have a lot to talk about with Donald. There was a Democratic debate last night. Did you catch Hillary screaming her head off at Bernie Sanders, scolding Bernie Sanders? Okay, without any further ado, let's welcome in Donald Trump. Donald, welcome. Appreciate you coming on. Good to talk to you again, sir.
Thank you very much, Steve.
All right, big weekend. You have the New Hampshire primary coming up early next week. You have the debate coming up over the weekend on Saturday. Ted Cruz has been your number one opponent thus far. Do you still view him as your number one opponent?
I don't really know who's the number one opponent. I mean, I view everybody as the number one opponent. I think that's the way you have to look at these things, Steve. You never know who's going to emerge. They emerge, and they leave, and they come back. So who knows? But I view everybody as very capable.
All right, let's look at some of the polls. We have polls out today. NBC News, Wall Street Journal, Marist poll. You're up by 13 over Rubio, 15 over Cruz. CNN poll, New Hampshire, also yesterday, basically the same, 11 over Rubio, 16 over Cruz. Marco Rubio, you can't deny the fact that he is rising.
Well, I think he's rising, but we'll have to see what happens. I mean, he's got a long way to go. But he's been doing not so badly. We'll see what happens. I mean, others are doing well also. I mean, I hear so much about some of the governors, but then I look at the polls and they're not doing so well. So we'll see what happens.
All right, but you've gone after Bush, you've gone after others, you've gone after many of the candidates on the stage. You really haven't gone after Marco Rubio. Do you see him? Do you like him? Is he a nice guy? Can you see yourself attacking him if he gets too close?
Well, I think I don't want to tell you exactly my strategy, but certainly there's a strategy, and there's a strategy behind everything I do and probably everything you do. But, at the right time, we'll probably have a debate. But right now we haven't had much of a debate, the two of us. But he seems to be doing a little bit better the last couple of days, though I think he had sort of a bad day. I think the Santorum endorsement was very costly to him because Santorum couldn't name anything he did. That was a terrible thing. I mean, he wasn't able to, when questioned pretty strongly, as you know, by Joe Scarborough, I don't know what happened to Santorum, but he couldn't name one thing that Rubio did. So that was not a good moment. I think that hurt Rubio very badly.
Do you see him as inexperienced in the making of kind of the resume of a Barack Obama at the same point in their careers?
Well, look, he's a young guy, and that's okay. But he's a young guy, and we'll see what happens. I mean, we'll probably see what happens at the debate, and I know he's going to be attacked by a lot of other people at the debate, so I don't think I'll have to bother.
When it comes to Jeb Bush, he's calling out the family. George W. Bush made an ad that aired yesterday. Barbara Bush took to the stage and said that her son has every quality you could possibly want in a president. What's your take on what's going on with Jeb?
I think Jeb has spent a tremendous amount of money, and it's been unwisely spent. It would have been much better giving it to the veterans who could use it very badly. He spent $100 million and is nowhere. It's a tough situation for Jeb. He's just not catching on. At some point you say, it's not working. It has not caught on. He'll be at the debate tomorrow, and let's see how he does.
You've had, some interesting things to say about the presidency of George W. Bush. Do you think he was a better president than Barack Obama?
Well, he caused problems. He got us into a war that we shouldn't have been in, and other things. And yeah, I would say he was better. I think Obama is about as bad as it gets, but I would say that George W. Bush was certainly not a Ronald Reagan.
You know, Ted Cruz now says you're rattled.
Donald Trump is very rattled right now. He told the entire world he was going to win Iowa, and then he didn't win.
You don't sound rattled right now. It's early in the morning. Are you rattled at all?
No, I'm not rattled. And, I said that he was having a breakdown a week ago, and, people asked him the same question. It's what they say. It's one of those things. And, I heard somebody told me he made that statement. I'm not a rattler type.
All right, one more on Marco Rubio in the Quinnipiac poll out today, which nationally has you up 31-22 over Cruz, with Rubio 3 behind Cruz. Rubio beats Hillary in that poll. You don't. Does that mean much to you at this point?
I really know nothing about it. No, I really
okay.
don't. I've beaten Hillary in many, many polls, and I usually beat Hillary, so I don't know why I don't beat her in this one, but I think in the end I'll beat her much more easily. I bring places like New York into play. I bring places like Ohio and Michigan and Florida and lots of other states into play that our guys are going to lose.
The Koch brothers. It's been reported that they're not happy with you. They raised, I think, $400 million for the Republican nominee, Mitt Romney, last time around. What is your relationship with them? If they spend millions, to stop you, how would you respond to that?
Well, my relationship with them has been very good. We'll see what happens, but it's always been very good. In fact, they're members of my club in Palm Beach. I think that my relationship is very good. We'll find out.
But you weren't invited, if I'm correct, to that August where some other Republican candidates were invited, and I think at the time you made some statement that you weren't happy with that. I mean, have you reached out to them?
I never made a statement that I wasn't happy. I made a statement that I was happy that I didn't go there. Those people were going there looking for money. I'm self-funding my campaign. I don't need money. I've been invited to their houses, and recently, fairly recently, to David's house with various governors. And my relationship, I think, with them is very good. And when you say wasn't invited, the people went there because they were looking for funding. I'm self-funding my campaign.
Right.
So the nice part is I don't need their money.
Okay. That's my next question. You don't need their money. So do you need their support at all?
I don't know. I can't answer that. I need the support of the people of the country. I don't need the support of people putting up money. I need the support of the people of the country so that I get votes. That's the ultimate support. That's what I'm looking for, because the fact that I'm self-funding, the fact that I'm not going to special interests and lobbyists to get money, lets me make the proper decisions for the country. Nobody else is going to make those decisions.
All right, let's say you win New Hampshire, but it's a tighter race than you would like. Marco Rubio does well. Then you go to South Carolina. Let's say the same thing repeats. You just brought up self-funding. Can you see yourself spending, what, 50, 100, 200, $500 million? What are you willing to spend?
Well, I have a lot of money, and I can spend unlimited money. I have far more money than anybody else. I have far more money than anybody else that's ever run. And I'll spend what I need to spend if it's a wise investment. I mean, if I think I'm going to win. And right now it looks like I'm doing very well, and we'll see what happens. I mean, who knows, Steve? But I'm doing it. My whole theme is Make America Great Again, right?
Right.
It's a very nice theme. It's very concise. We're going to make America great again. We're not going to make bad trade deals with China and Japan and Mexico. We're going to strengthen the border. We're going to get rid of Obamacare and replace it with something much, much better and much less expensive. And there's so many different things we're going to be doing. It's going to be an amazing turnaround.
Donald, Hillary is trailing Bernie Sanders in New Hampshire in the latest poll out today by 61-30. And in the Quinnipiac national poll, they're statistically tied, 44-42, Hillary over Sanders. If Hillary falters, if she starts struggling, if she's not going to beat Sanders, you think they throw this? You think Biden comes in? You think the superdelegates at the convention go to Biden, or will they accept Bernie?
I think somebody else will come in. I think the last person they want running is a communist slash socialist. I mean, he's one or the other and probably a little bit of both. I don't think a person like that's going to win an election once it's exposed, and once you realize he's raising taxes to 90% for people. I think that it's going to be very hard to have a socialist running on the Democratic line.
He said he wants to run against you.
And I would love the opportunity. Frankly, I'm prejudiced. I want Trump to win the Republican nomination. And I would love the opportunity to run against him.
Well, of course, I want to run against him. You know, remember this. When they say they want to run against somebody, that's the person they don't want to run against, just so you understand. All right?
I get it. I get it. Do you think the email server situation, you think Hillary will end up in jail?
I think she will end up in big problems. I think that she has got tremendous problems, but I think she's being protected by the Democrats, and somehow I don't think they're going to do anything to her. Otherwise, they would have told her by now, don't run, you're not going to be able to run. I mean, why would they let her go so far? But it looks to me like she's just not doing very well, especially when you tell me about that national poll, because she was always killing them nationally.
Her speeches to Goldman Sachs. Yesterday she was asked at the debate whether or not she would release the transcripts of those speeches.
Are you willing to release the transcripts of all your paid speeches? We do know through reporting that there were transcription services for all of those paid speeches. In full disclosure, would you release all of them?
I will look into it. I don't know the status, but I will certainly look into it.
There are transcripts of those speeches. Should she?
Well, I think she's going to have to. And, you know, she's always claiming the big bad bankers, and then she gets hundreds of thousands of dollars to make speeches, and she says certain things behind closed doors. So I think she'll probably be forced to do that.
Okay, Megyn Kelly. She was on Jimmy Fallon yesterday. She had some good things to say about you, but she also said in that first debate, everybody got punched in the gut. It wasn't only you.
He got a tough question, but they all got tough questions. I mean, that opening round of the first debate in particular was all about electability. So we were trying to get to what's your weak spot? You know, what's going to prevent you from getting the nomination? What's going to prevent you from winning against Hillary, who's going to be the likely Democratic nominee? And that's where I was going with him. But, you know, all those guys they kind of got it right in the kisser.
Do we know if Donald Trump's coming to this one?
He hasn't committed.
It's already been determined she will be moderating the debate on March 3rd. I know that someone asked you about it yesterday, and I just want to ask you today. Is there any doubt that you will attend that March 3rd debate with Megyn and Fox?
No, I'll be there. I have no objection to being there. And that had nothing to do with Megyn Kelly, with the fact that I went out of the last one. It had to do with a memo that was sent out by Fox that was a little bit taunting, and I said it was inappropriate. And what happened is, because I didn't do it, I raised $6 million for the vets. So I wouldn't have changed places. I mean, I did the right thing.
And we broadcast that live right here on Newsmax TV, and I had the pleasure of anchoring that event. Donald, thank you very much, sir. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Steve. You take care of yourself.
You too.
Bye.
Wow, quite a conversation with Donald. He had a lot to say about a number of issues. And I guess a couple of things surprised me. You know, he's gone back and forth on this Megyn Kelly issue, and to say, I mean, he was just on with O'Reilly, trashing Megyn Kelly, and again today he went back to it had nothing to do with Megyn Kelly, which it may not have. He may still just have that opinion of Megyn Kelly, and that's not why he didn't go to the previous debate. But he said, and this was the first time he said it, because last night on Fallon, Megyn didn't know if he was coming, and now he said he's coming. So. I'm glad we were able to break that news. Also, the fact that he feels Hillary's going to have to release, politically speaking, have to release her transcripts of her Goldman Sachs speeches. That'll be very interesting if she ever does that. And, you know, is Cruz your main competition? What did he say? He said, well, you know, I don't know at this point. And he really sounded today, maybe because, you know, I don't know, he just sounded subdued today. And, you know, he was subdued, and he had these intimate setting appearances yesterday in New Hampshire that he had not really had in Iowa. And I think that, you know, maybe this is a new approach. Maybe it's more of a, you know, relate to me, connect with me, as opposed to the bombastic Donald Trump. But I wouldn't bet on that. I wouldn't bet on that. The bombastic has worked. So, I don't know. The new poll's out today. He's still way ahead. Not as much. And Rubio's rising, and he knows Rubio's rising. Said he wouldn't give away his strategy on how he's going to go after Rubio. Said the Santorum endorsement really hurt Rubio a lot because Santorum couldn't think of anything Rubio did, and Trump wasn't about to give you anything that Rubio did either. So it's a very interesting conversation. Glad we could have it. And when we come back, we're going to discuss more of what Donald Trump had to say with the Malzberg panel, Jane Velez Mitchell, and Steve Deese will be here as well. So don't go away.